I think all of my ideas are kind of like mistakes. It's like, because you never wake up and say, today I'm going to write the, congratulations or any song. And you kind of just, it's all about like right moment, right time.
Yeah.
Like I had like 8 Bud Lights, right? And then I took just a tiny bit of shrooms, and then here it's like, and then it just happens.
Yeah. But that's the flow state, right? When you can get out of your own way and you can let ideas come to you. Like, I was talking with this dude. His name's Joe DeSena. He runs a Spartan race. He's a really smart guy, very interesting guy. He does a lot of stuff for kids. He's got all these kid programs. These kids do like difficult tasks, and they do it over a summer camp, and it gets them better. But we were talking about it, and we were talking about being healthy and all the benefits of being healthy.
Sure.
And I was like, there's a lot to that, but there's also a lot to like the person who binges and creates something incredible. Like we were talking about Stephen King's books.
Sure.
Like some of the ones he doesn't even remember
Right.
are the best ones because he was on coke and drinking a fucking case of Bud.
Right.
Like it just blasted out of his head, chain smoking cigarettes, and he doesn't even remember writing. I think it's Cujo. He doesn't even remember writing it. It's amazing.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like to each his own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, whatever gets you through the night.
No, some people can definitely do it straight, and I've definitely had ideas without any influence of anything before.
That's what I think, that there's a certain magic that goes into making a record, or if you're a painter, a painting, or if you're a dancer, a fucking cool dance move.
I think they're all related in some way.
Yeah, there's something there that just kicks off, and you can't control it, and you can't say when it's gonna happen, but it just happens.
Whatever that is that makes humans so interested in creating things that other people are going to enjoy. But that's what it is. It's like there's a weird frequency. Humans creating things that they know other people are going to enjoy. And if you can just get lost in the beauty of just creating the thing and get out of your own way, then these ideas will come to you. But if you get in your own way, you have less bandwidth for the ideas. And when they come to you, it feels like they aren't even yours. Like it's like you're interacting with something. Like these ideas, just like if you have an idea for if I have an idea for a new bit or something like that, sometimes they just come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Like where did that come from?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
What is where are premises from? What's an idea from? It's like creativity comes from the weirdest part of your brain that no one knows how to. I mean, you can have breathing exercises. You can do all sorts of things to try to stimulate it.
Right.
But the reality is you can't even measure it.
No.
You don't know when it's up, when it's down. You just know what you're doing. If you're making some cool
So what Joe Rogan and Post Malone are talking about here, it's an interesting topic, right? Because look, I'm a creator myself. I produce. Back in the day, I used to love to draw and paint. Like play with Legos when I was a little kid, and I'm not talking about like building what the instructions told you to build, but building my own stuff. But creativity, as Joe Rogan said, is something that's hard to measure. And as you heard, I'm not encouraging any drug use, but for some anxious people, maybe smoking a little bit or being a little bit loose after a couple of drinks may kind of drive or support creativity levels at higher rates. But it's different for everybody. The book that I talked about recently, one of my recent videos, that 50 Cent wrote, he is known for somebody that's being completely sober and just having this like different drive, sort of like a sports player, like going to the gym, hitting the bag. For him, going in the studio is like hitting the bag. He's completely sober. He wants to have as much control as possible, and he treats it like a sport. Some artists like Post Malone, he's talking about drinking, being on shrooms, and then boom, it just happened out of nowhere. That's cool. But one thing I would suggest is that most people in the industry that are creatives, and it doesn't have to be music, it doesn't have to be just art, it could also be in engineering and coming up with engineering concepts and things like that. Most people that have long careers and are able to get things done consistently is they set that consistent schedule. So they're absolutely right, you can't force creativity. Usually when you try to force yourself to come up with something, whether you're writing, creating music, or even trying to come up with like a new architectural drawing for a new house if you're an architect, it's probably not going to come to you. But if you do schedule daily 2-hour slots to, you know, give yourself that space to be able to create. Like Post Malone says, you know, if you could just create for 2 hours, it could be that, you know, beat idea or instrumental idea somewhere in the middle that just ends up being that hit. You don't really, you know, spend any time thinking about it the day before. You don't necessarily have to plan for it. You don't have to be strategic about it. But if you give yourself those 2 hours every single day and you stay structured that way, you can experience these different, you know, highs and lows of creativity, and that's going to allow you to create enough material that can then be marketed, so on and so forth, you know. But what usually happens with artists is they're going to be like, man, yeah, see, I told you, Post Malone said you got to drink and take shrooms and smoke weed to be creative. But not, because I just gave you an example of what 50 Cent does. You know what I mean? Like, you could be completely sober and treat it like a sport. So just like Post Malone said, to each his own. But my recommendation to you is that if you can allocate a certain amount of hours per day to give yourself time and space to be creative, even if it doesn't come that day, you're better off going forward in your career than just doing it randomly and not having any type of structure. Structure always benefits, you know, free thinking, creative thinking, whatever, but it's really interesting what they're talking about, because creativity is hard to measure. It comes to some people. It could be even trained. It could be developed over time, being consistent with giving yourself 2 hours per day to try to be creative in the particular genre of art. You know what I'm saying? It's not unheard of. That could be trained into your brain. The brain is a very interesting, you know, thing, but be structured. That's all I got to tell you. And, you know, I'm going to continue to make videos like this because it's interesting to break these things down and just to give you other perspectives. Because artists love to just take shit out of context and say, see, I told you the baby said you got to smoke blunts to make great music. No, it's just one way of doing it. There's 101 different ways to make it in every industry, and that's the point I'm trying to drive home. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.